Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Although most of you will probably be watching this on record, I don't really plan what time I'm going to do the streams. It's just really whenever I can find time. So thanks very much for watching. If we do happen to get anybody during the live, great. But it's not. I'm not necessarily planning for that. I'm on a rest day today, which means that I've obviously got a bit more time. So I'm going to be doing a double whammy. So I'm going to be having a look at our round 3 match against Mozambique. I think all 4 boards had some quite interesting positions on there, so I'll take you through to the key moments in each one. I think it's only fair as well that we just have a quick look at some of the women's results to have a look at how they're getting on. But then also, we're actually live in the middle of round 4 where we're playing against Switzerland. They've got real strength in depth. And so we're going to have a look at the games live. It only started an hour and 20 ago, so we should be right in the thick of it, having some interesting battles, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, well, let's get into it. So we're against Mozambique. We had our team was Jose rested. It was Daniel, Greg, myself, and then Alex. And on average, we're about 200 points higher rated than them on each board, maybe 150 to 200 depending. And I was in this position. I'm going to start with my game because I was the first to finish, and it was quite a good game, if I don't mind saying so myself. But really, the only thing that I'll let you play through the game, I won a pawn quite easily early on, and it wasn't really much of a contest. But I did get this nice finish. And so if you haven't seen this finish yet, then it's black to play in this position. And of course there's many winning moves here. But hopefully this will appear in some tactics books somewhere. I'd be really happy to see that. And the thing is, again, we played Mozambique 2 years ago, and I had then another tactical finish, which is like something that should appear in your tactics training manual as well, which is pretty funny. So pause the video if you're watching now, have a go, black to play, and it's actually forced checkmate. In 4 moves. But of course, you've actually got multiple ways to do it, which is quite funny. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the answer, so make sure you pause if you want to have a go yourself. So here in this position, I went Queen G2 check, and force mate follows. So for example, the only way to stay in the game is to stick with the rook, because after pawn takes rook, we now have a discovered check down this way, where the king has got this square on G1. And then I'm able to go rook H1 check, king comes back out to F2, and then I can do pawn takes bishop, promote to a queen or a rook, and it's checkmate. Or probably rook takes bishop, no promotion at all needed, and give checkmate this way. I don't actually know which one I would have chosen. I probably would have wanted to do pawn takes bishop, promote into a rook checkmate. I don't know why, I've just not done that before. But he didn't allow me to checkmate him. He actually resigned after queen G2, which was really annoying. But okay, great game to play through if you're looking for how to actually play some good positional chess. Okay, I was a pawn up quite early on, so it was pretty much over before it even began, really. Bit of a disappointment, I'm afraid. We had below me, we had Alex. He was white against another 1900. It looked like a really tough game. I think the key moments came around this area. This area here. Whereas opponent Alex was trying to put pressure on this e5 pawn. He's got a rook, knight, and queen on it. There's a knight, queen, and rook defending it. And Alex went h5, so trying to kick the knight away, so that you can then take this pawn on e5. And I think there's maybe a few things missed here. It's still equal at this point. I think black's best move here is knight h4, which is a bit of an unusual move because he can't take it because he'll lose his rook. But actually his opponent went e4 here, and then Alex was able to swap queens, retreat his rook, and when he lost the knight, he actually played a really good move here in bishop d3. Because what he wants to do is he wants to win a pawn here when he takes the knight back, and then he also wants to win this pawn on f3 so that he'll be a pawn up. And it's still a little unclear. He's still got a lot of work to do from this position. His opponent maybe didn't play the hardest move around this area. I think he was meant to be pushing his pawn to h5, h4, h3, but then Alex was able to take this pawn, and at this point here, he is well, I'm counting the pawns. He is a pawn up, which is this pawn on g6, and of course the king on g7 is also weak, and Alex duly converted this in another so many moves. So that put us 2-0 up at that point, although Alex didn't finish until after Greg's game. And Greg actually played quite a good game in the opening. He was actually going quite alright somewhere around this area here. His opening had gone quite well. Greg was white against a 21-30. And these players, by the way, you just don't know what you're getting. My opponent was 1900. I literally played my preparation and then literally attacked a pawn. He didn't defend it. It was very complicated if he did defend it, though. I did have a combination coming up that would need some calculation. So that's probably why he didn't. And I won quite easily. Whereas, you could easily have had this 1900 play an amazing game against me. They're capable of beating IMs. They've got no fear. So 21-30 is still a really good, strong player. And actually, even here, he's doing very well. And I believe just maybe missed an opportunity here when he took this pawn to smash open the game with a5, which would have really taken advantage of this king being on d8. Especially with his opponent down to 25 minutes at this point. And if you're smashing open the centre of the board with your opponent's king there to go and get it, it would have been much better. And unfortunately, he kind of took and he just wasn't quick enough to occupy the b file with all of his pieces, because black's able to get their king out and then stick something on b8, and he just can't quite get the checks and attack the king. And then, okay, later on, somewhere down here, where is it? Queens get swapped off, but the problem is, unfortunately, even though this knight is quite a long way away from this knight, it does eventually move itself around, and he loses a piece and therefore loses the endgame. So at that point, we were 2-1 down, and we kind of knew it was going to be 2-1 because we knew that Alex was going to. I won it early. We knew Alex was likely to win. We saw that Greg was probably going down on this board, and then we had Dan's game on the top board, and Daniel was black here. He was playing against Donaldo Paiva, who I believe played against Greg 2 years ago. Again, another strong player, 21-30, 21-39. Could do very, very well if he gets the right kind of position. I think Daniel was quite happy with the opening. But really, the key moment, he was under a bit of pressure. He sacrificed a pawn to get some activity, and he got activity. But actually, one of the key moments was actually in this position here. Here at this point, Dan had just played knight d5, and he did this deliberately because he wanted to tempt his opponent into doing this queen d4 check, e5, queen d2, and you see here how the knight is actually hanging, and it's pinned to the rook. So it really looks like black is in a lot of trouble here, but Dan had actually seen this far ahead already. And of course the point is that if you just move your king away, then c4 comes, and this pin down on this knight is not very nice at all. So e5 is almost forced. Queen goes back to this square, so it also keeps an eye on h2. So if you, for example, if you went back to d1, then black could get out of this pin by going rook h8, threatening checkmate, and then he can move the knight. And if he gets the knight to this square, well, happy days. Knight in f4 if you're black, or f5 if you're white is super, super strong. But his opponent did the right move, going back to d2. But then here at this point, try and pause the video if you want, see what black did next to get out of this problem, because otherwise white is just going to take a piece for free, and you're going to be a piece down. You're going to have to resign or just lose slowly, whatever you want. So have a think. What can black do now? Pause the video if you're watching on record, and try and work out how can black survive in this position. And Dan foresaw this before we even went into the variation. Thought it was really good actually. Okay, so the answer is knight f6, and the point being that if queen takes rook is played, which is the critical line, he's now going to do knight takes bishop. And sometimes in chess you just get beautiful positions, right? Beautiful ideas, domination of a piece, and this is one of them. So the first point is that if pawn takes knight, we've got perpetual check, and back again, and there's nothing that white can do against it. Remember, we're 2-1 up in the match at this point. It's quite obvious. So I think myself and Greg had finished, so it was 1-1, but Alex looked like he was definitely going to win. So Dan knew that a draw was going to be enough for us to win the match, so he was happy to take the perpetual check. And the other point is that if that doesn't happen, well, this is coming in next go. And how do you stop that? And you can't bring your queen back too many squares. So, for example, first of all, here and here are attacked by the pawn and the knight. You can't bring your queen back to d1 or d3 because it gets forked by knight f2 check. You can't cover f2 or anything like that. The pawn's guarded. I mean, how do you guard the pawn on f3, first of all? This is happening next go. If you go rook g4, we've got knight f2 check and then taking the rook. I don't know what else to suggest. King g2, I believe that knight g5 is very good. That's probably the only worthwhile try. But then there's going to be either a check on h3 or f3 coming, and you can't stop both. And the king's going to get absolutely harassed. And there's nothing that white can do about this now. So this is a fantastic little resource. This kind of perpetual check idea really is the kind of the blueprint for it. Remembering those ideas when you've got a weak king to go out and you're trying to hold them is really resourceful from Daniel. His opponent couldn't take the draw though, and because of that, even though at this point Daniel played, I mean this is again just nice, like rook check, rook back, and then he doesn't swap off, he takes the bishop now, can't be taken on the rook again because of the fork, little things like that just to give you a little bit of an edge. He could have chosen one with king f6 as well, but this is also just as good, and he just goes rook d2, and he's very happy just to repeat to take the draw. I think they might have got close to repeating, but his opponent had to play on for a win, and the problem with playing on for a win when your opponent, even though white's a pawn up, the rook is just so active on the second rank. The king is very weak, so if the rook leaves it, then you can do lots of checks, and the rook's just in amongst all the pawns. And the problem is then he just actually loses the game because of it. Black's pawns are so much faster than white's, and it's game over. And he did a very nice swap off here, actually. I thought this was quite brave, knowing that this was actually going to work. In the end, he just resigned at this point. He can't do anything. It's just game over because the three pawns beat the king. Not because they would beat the king without any help. They win because the black king can actually lose a move. So therefore, he can't be put in subzone, which was really demonstrated by Dan actually in our post-match analysis, which was fantastic. So actually, probably should have been 2.5, 1.5, but actually we did run out 3-1 winners. So we're very happy with that. It beating a very dangerous Mozambique team. I wouldn't be surprised if they get some individual upsets. Okay, Greg losing was an upset in itself, but maybe even some bigger fish like some Grandmasters or International Masters at some point. They're very dangerous players. So yeah, very happy with that. And today we've got Switzerland. I'll have a look at the women's results first, and then we'll have a look at the live games and go from there. But yeah, very very happy with the win over a potential banana skin. And there's going to be a lot of these teams that we're going to come up against. And, we kind of yo-yo between we go down to a team where we're meant to beat them, and it's always dangerous. And then we'll go up to a team that's meant to beat us. Again, it's dangerous as well for different reasons. So if I click on the women's matches, I don't know what board they were on yesterday, and it automatically puts me on round 4, which is really quite annoying. So actually, no, we want to go to round 2, actually, don't we? I should imagine. So they won in round 1, so I'm guessing they would be on the top 1. So we covered their round 1 match. I'm using live chess. Of course, you can use chess.com. I know that live chess did go down at some point a few days ago. Looks like it's back up again. Just trying to find what board they were on. Oh, not even in the right match. There's two teams. Okay. And they won their first match. They should be in the top half. I don't know if they're on. There they are. Okay, so in the round 2, they were against Peru, and Peru are extremely strong. They've got 2366 IM on top boards, and then 3 women's international masters on boards 2, 3, and 4. So hang on, let me just change the layout that I've got here, just so we can see. And we can just about see it there, can't we? I'll just zoom it over a little bit and move it over this way. There we go. So they obviously lost the match 3.5 half. Well done to Imogen for getting the half point. I don't actually know what happened in the game. A lot of exchanges. And here you see there we've got the Carlsbad pawn structure, pretty standard. And Imogen's actually gone for the minority attack, which is pretty standard and pretty good, and also effective. A5 is interesting because you lose the opportunity to go B5 in the future, but maybe also blocks it up. And it looks like there's a lot of moves to this game. So this is really good actually, because this is how you need to play against players that outrate you. You can't be fearful of them. Our opponent's down to 4 minutes and 9 seconds here. And she goes for the e4 break now. So this is actually quite aggressive play, kind of the way that you want to play chess if you can do. You get to a rook and pawn ending, and you just have to take your chances. And just went on for 59 moves, gets a half point. She'll be pleased with that. And okay, the team lost 3.5, but they were up against an extremely strong opposition. If we then have a look at round 3, I believe that they were. Just slot the boards first. We want round 3. Again, against a team that they were meant to beat quite comfortably, and I believe that they ran out. So yeah, they were playing against Lesotho, and okay, they massively outrate their opponents, but you know the ratings. You've got no idea what these ratings actually mean. It just cuts off on my stream. So the Lesotho ladies are rated between high 1500s and about 1650ish. So they got 1645 on bottom board, 1583 on board 3 against Kim. Linda played against a 1571, and Imogen played against a 1650. And okay, the top 3 boards all won, and Emma drew. Probably, I think she was winning the game, and just kind of messed up the conversion of it. So therefore, I had to give away half a point, but better than losing. And I believe there was some quite nice games. I actually had time to come and look at these games because my game was I was pulling up quite early. I was able to have a little wander around the hall and actually enjoy looking at some of the games. I want to see my sister play for Scotland and want to have a look at the Welsh ladies as well. Go and have a look at some of the top matches. I think the day before that I was literally walking there and Gukesh was walking past me, and with his coffee, just like, is he old enough to have coffee? I don't know. Yeah, just mix it with one of the top players there, which was quite nice. So that was they've done well there, 3.5 against Lesotho, so they've got some tough opposition today. Who are they playing today? So they won't be on those boards, they'll be on maybe 26 to 50. Let's have a little quick look. So yeah, they're against Hungary C. So that could be quite a close match actually. All of Hungary C are rated over 2000 though, with a 2105 on board 2. So outrated for sure. But hopefully they've got some good games going on there. But okay, let's have a look at the team that I'm playing for and focused on. So we go to here, go to the open matches, teams, and they are like 3 boards down, right? So actually, maybe I'll go on to the boards view because we're actually right at the top. So it's actually these 4 boards here that we're looking at. So the first one is Jose, and I think I've played through the same. Jose is playing black here, so I'll just flip the board around. I think this is has gone a bit wrong for Jose. Yeah, he might look pretty solid with this bishop holding these 2 pawns, but I don't think Jose's really very happy in this position. You look at the white pieces in comparison, double rooks on the f-file. Okay, you can't take here just yet, but it's not going to take that much to do it. These pawns here look aggressive, but apart from maybe some long-term ideas of like putting the pawn on either h3 or maybe doing the opposite and putting the pawn on g3 to create some chances against the white king, I just don't see it working. He's got nothing more than that to add on top of it. The pieces can't really come in, which is quite bad. Okay, he's still not connected his rooks. He's down to 21 minutes here. I think he's struggling in this game, which is a shame. It was a Ragozin by the looks of things. This game here was Daniel Kozak against Li Minpeng. Now Li Minpeng actually had some really interesting time usage in this at the start of this game. He was really blitzing out his moves, which is quite surprising. I didn't think Daniel played like normally. But Peng had like 1 hour 29 minutes, and Daniel was down to like 40 minutes or something like that early on. Obviously, okay, he's starting to use a bit more now, but this is why Daniel's in some time trouble at this point. Getting down to 17 minutes, it's getting close to the time where you don't panic, but you're thinking, I need to make the time control, move 40 to get an extra half an hour, and they're only on move 21. So there's a little bit of pressure on Daniel here, and I don't think it's quite gone his way. It looks a bit messy though, and I think that's something that will just give him that little hope actually, that it's a little bit messy. He's still in this game. It's anything can happen. Where you don't get pawns just completely matching up against each other. Obviously, black can win if he matches his pawns down here. There's a very simple plan here of just doing this and just winning. Of course, Daniel would not allow that to happen and just do nothing about it. He's got his own plan of moving these pawns forward, right? Which might be quite interesting, or trying to attack the king with h4, h5, or maybe at some point f5. Got a little bit of a problem with this pin on this knight to the queen though, which is a shame. because I think that might swap off too many pieces and make Dan's task a little bit harder. But hope he can generate something. He proved yesterday he was quite resourceful, so therefore I hope he can find something. Looks like already we've got our results. I'm afraid it looks like that Greg has lost his game. He played the Queen's Gambit accepted, and then here he made a blunder here. So it's still plus 1.5 here. So White's doing really well. Actually, can you see all of this? Oh, just about actually, can't you? Let me just move it a bit. Just slightly. Change it back after that. Okay, so yeah, Greg just blundered here with knight c7. Pressure's on a little bit. White is better here. So I don't know, maybe this pawn on a5. Pawn on e5. There seems to be a lot of dark square weaknesses in Black's camp. This pawn on b3 feels like a bit of a hit and hope kind of pawn, but maybe it was the plan. Decent time at the moment, so he wasn't any time trouble. But knight c7 unfortunately just drops material because of knight d6, and the point being that it blocks the defense of the bishop on the knight, and also attacks this bishop. So we're threatening queen takes knight, which can't actually be defended in any easy way. There's no way to defend that knight, and if you move it, you lose the bishop. So therefore he has to take here, and then after bishop takes, the problem now is that your rook is also under attack, and so knight d7 happens, and he didn't even take the rook. He went here. He saved that rook, and he just went rook fd1 and bishop g5, and he took the rook, and then went here, rook a8, and okay, well, bishop takes rook a8, I guess was going to come, and that was going to be it. So yeah, unfortunately there, Greg has suffered a little bit. Obviously thought about how to get out of it towards the end, but it was a little bit too late. So hopefully the other guys can pick up some points. And here we have Alex, who is he played a bit of an interesting middle game, which is why he's got no H pawn. So I'll let you play through that. So he's a pawn down in this position, and he is going to suffer for a very long time trying to hold this game, which is something that he's going to enjoy, by the way. He would love to sit here for another 3-4 hours trying to hold this game, trying to not lose it. But his international master opponent, 24-21, is going to absolutely work this to the bone to get the victory. Okay, time-wise, he's doing okay. He's got 35 minutes left. They're only on move 22, so actually still could be a little time, could be a factor here. But he's going to have to get lucky. The problem is that there's not really an imbalance in the position. So he's got queen and 2 rooks. With a weaker king as well, because you haven't got that extra pawn, that could be a factor. The other problem is you can't swap off to an endgame because the same colour bishops are on the board. It's going to be really difficult to draw that. So I don't quite see how that's going to happen. This pawn on a2 is currently under threat, so I wonder what happens if it gets taken. Has he got some sort of tactic that I'm missing? So what happens after this, for example? Rook takes a2. Is there some sort of bishop h7 and then some sort of funny business going on, or am I missing something here? Maybe it could be rook takes rook, bishop takes rook, rook a1, and then oh no, a7 is protected. So is that not just a second pawn? What happens here? Maybe bishop 8. No. Why can't Black just take a second pawn? I don't want to use the computer. It feels like I'm cheating if I do that. Anybody else? Feels like cheating. Let me just load up the Twitch chat just in case there is one person watching and talking to me. Okay, I can at least see the chat now, which is good. Right. So why can't you do rook takes a2? Bishop h7 check doesn't actually get us any decent checks. can't. The only way to attack h7 again is queen d3. Or bishop h7, king takes bishop, queen e4. If it's going to be 2 pawns, it's going to be an even harder task, which is probably why Oliver is taking his time here, because 1 pawn up, white's got definite chances to draw. 2 pawns, no chance. Really, is going to be really tough for him. But okay, I mean, that's the position as it is. Obviously, we'll have to hope that things go well and get better. Let's check in with the ladies. Maybe they're having a bit of a better time than us, because I think we could be on for a heavy loss today. I'm afraid it's not looking too good for us. Where are the women? So okay, so we have here. So this is Olivia. Again, somebody similar rating for Olivia, but both over 2,000. She's black here in this position against Hungary C, Esther Sulyok. And I'm not liking Olivia's position, mainly because Esther's got a pawn at e6. Infiltration with rook f7 is potentially threatened in the future. Not right. Maybe right away, actually. Queen takes e6 is going to happen next, right? So I guess Esther's just thinking, how can I keep that pawn, if I can keep that pawn? So I guess she would have to go rook here, wouldn't she? Which doesn't look like a nice move. Maybe Olivia's got it covered with bishop e5, and then she's just going to take the pawn, and then she's going to say, happy days, I'm a pawn up. So maybe Esther's looking at rook f7, but then queen takes here. And she can swap queens and then do rook takes b7 to keep material equal, but this does not look good because then black would have rook e1 check at the end, and some sort of invasion is happening. It might be okay for white, but just changed my tune a little bit there. I thought this pawn was going to be really good. Can't see a way for Esther to make use of it, so Olivia might have the upper hand in this game. Haven't got the computer on, so might be wrong, but going down to 20 minutes each at the moment, that's going to go into a nice time scramble. They're only on move 19. Let's have a look how Imogen's doing against Lily Toth. Another white for Imogen. I think she's just got a little bit lucky with how things have fallen. But okay, this position is looking quite interesting. I would say that Imogen is maybe struggling here a little bit. I really like these squares that she's got for a knight, and the doubling of the rooks up on the f-file. And maybe there's a draw here that she's threatening, like knight check, and then king comes forward, and then knight here check, and king just has to go back, and she brings the knight back check again. And there's nothing really that black can do about that. But I really don't know if I like e4. E4 looks like it could be a problem. Pushing that bishop back, shoving the space that black has, and maybe it's just a case that it doesn't matter, and that this knight f5 check is just going to be so powerful when it comes, attacking this guy, threatening to come into g7. The king's got to stay around this area. The 2 rooks attacking f6 as well, going to be really quite powerful. So this is another game. A few more moves. We're on move 25 at the moment, heading down to the last 20 minutes each. That's going to go into a nice time scramble. So yeah, bishop c8 played because this is such a threat. Wow, really important move. And Imogen's outrated there by over 170 points or something like 180 points maybe. So she's doing well at the moment. But it could be an interesting game to keep going. Linda is black here, and she is playing against Sofia Gomboc, and it's a women's FIDE Master 2061. So Linda outrated by 200 points, and is, hang on, let me do a quick count. I don't know about you, but that looks like it's equal material at the moment, so Linda will be happy about that. Her opponent's down to 20 minutes as well. So Linda's really making her opponent work for it here. Got some holes in the position, which I don't know how keen I am at that. So something like this could happen. Maybe g4 is a bit of a brave move, like creating some weaknesses yourself, but also forcing that knight to move. But maybe Linda's got this all in control, right? I mean, maybe she can go something like if knight f6, and maybe something like queen c7, attacking e5, but also threatening to swap queens off. I think if Linda gets the queens off here, she'll be really happy because her king's more weak than white's. Black's king is very exposed, very open. You can see some checkmating patterns happening on it. So actually getting the queens off, I think, is very important here. It doesn't have to move the knight, of course. We've got the pin on the d-file, so it should be all good. But okay, yeah, really interesting game. Okay, the women are right in it so far. And here we have Kim against Davar Dumbril, rated over 2,000. So Kim's given up like 260 points in rating here, which is a huge amount, really. Especially from a strong chess playing nation as Hungary, because they're the host nation. They're allowed to enter more than one team. Looks to be holding her own so far. I mean, you can see that Black's attacking. Kim's white in this position. She's got all of her pieces out. I quite like her king on e2, actually. I quite like that. Black's maybe a bit more active because of this rook on g4, but there's a weakness here on h4 that looks like it's being targeted. This knight's just gone back to h7 to g6. The queen's on this pawn, so it could be one of those miserable ones where you just lose a pawn and then you just can't quite get enough counterplay for it. But you know what? Giving it a good go, and in fact, much better than the guys, I think, there today, which I hope our fortunes turn around in those games. But okay, we're pretty happy with how things have gone so far. Obviously, we're not expected to win the match today, but it doesn't mean that we're going to give it to our opponents. Of course not. I want to go back to the boards again. Let's just see how they've gone on. Okay, yeah. So not really much has changed. Oh, yeah. Alex did lose that second pawn, so yeah, that's not looking. Rook c1. Oh, Rook c1 is his plan. He's at 32 minutes now. Huh. Does that mean that there's some Queen h5 ideas that can come in? No, I think he's full of it, I'm afraid. I think Black should just... or maybe the idea is that he wants to play Queen a3 if the Queen moves off the diagonal, so he can attack the Rook and Bishop at the same time. But I just can't see it working. It can't work, surely. So for example, if just Queen e7, let's just be super safe. And you could go Queen e5 as well, because you just defend the Rook and then just move the Bishop away. Oh, there's a really nice tactic here, actually. Oh. So there's like Queen e5. If you sack the Rook here and then go Bishop d5, the Rook's under attack. Yeah, hi, I'll told one. I'm just seeing your messages in the chat. Yeah, live at the moment, and the games are live going on right now. This is a really nice tactical idea, because let's suppose this Rook's under attack. If we save the Rook, let's say something like this, and then actually you've got a checkmate here for White. So yeah, again, if you're watching the record, then just pause it. Queen takes f7 check would be the way to go about things. You can't move the king because you take the Rook, so it's got to be taken. And then we bring down this Rook down to here, check. Okay, the Queen can block, but you're just going to take it, and it's going to be checkmate. Let's go. Yeah, interesting. I would have liked to play today, to play against a Grandmaster on board 3, but I think it was decided that Greg was better to play, but yeah, I don't know too much about that. But okay, I think maybe it's so that I can play tomorrow. It's probably maybe more important than playing today. But okay, it's we're only in round 4. We're already starting to settle in. Quite interesting stories. We're in the same hotel as the Irish, New Zealand are here as well, and obviously numerous other countries, but of the English-speaking ones that you get to have a chat with, they're here too. We had a funny instance yesterday driving to the venue in Greg's car. We made it on the time note, so they're okay. But we've discovered a little mini football court that's just around the corner from us, 2 minutes away. So we can play. Oh, we can play basketball on there as well, or like 3v3 football, maybe 4v4. We'll see what we can do. But absolutely loving the hotel that we're in. It's got great facilities. I've been in the steam room numerous times. Yeah, I could have cycled in. Greg cycled in one day, actually. He did cycle in like round 2 or something like that. So Magnus did cycle in yesterday and was nearly late for the game. But then again, there was a lot of people late for the game. They're still having issues getting the buzzers there on time. I think that in another hotel or another country, I think they've actually given them specific times that they have to be there, and some teams have been given the time of like 1 o'clock that they have to be on the coach to go in, because if all 270 people try and leave at 2 o'clock, for a 3 o'clock start, which is ideally what you want, they can't cope with it. So they're trying to spread it out, and they're forcing teams to leave at 1 o'clock to get in early. Problem with that, though, is of course there's that no team wants to be in that position, right? No team wants to leave at 1 o'clock when you could be doing preparation time then, or having your lunch then, spending extra time learning some more lines for your opponent. That's the that's what you want. So of course you don't want to be that team. And if you're the team leaving at 2, then you're great. But if you're the team leaving at 1, then that's not really ideal. Although I think, to be honest, actually tomorrow I might go in a little bit early just to maybe do a bit more exploring at the venue. I haven't really had a good look around it yet. More so because I don't know, we've just been getting in it a little bit later. But okay, I think Greg will be heading back. Oh no, the first buzz is at like 5:30, so I don't think he'll be heading back yet. It's only 5 o'clock. The venue seems good. So I think there's our playing hall where we're at, and then above our playing hall you've got like a raised platform where all the seats are, and I think there are spectators that do go in there to look down on all the boards. You can't really see much though from that far away. I guess you can at least identify some of the famous grandmasters, but there's meant to be another hall which I haven't discovered yet, where you can do like analysis, and they've got the expo going on there. I'm assuming there's going to be lots of stalls and everything. So looking forward to maybe having a look around. Might have a look after my game tomorrow rather than before it. Beforehand, I'll just try and just find out where it is and then get sat down. Really enjoying being here. It's we've actually got some good food as well, which apparently the Hungarian dish, they tend to like a lot of meat here, which suits me down to a T. Might not suit everybody, I accept, it's definitely good. Much better than Chennai, which was not really Chennai's fault because they're largely a vegetarian-based cuisine, and very spicy, which I didn't get on with personally, but I know other people really loved the Indian cuisine that was in Chennai. But here I can definitely eat a lot better, so I'm definitely well fed up this time, which is good. Okay, what just happened in Alex's game? Queen d4. Okay, Queen d4. There's still that tactic, Rook takes bishop a2, but just a little sneaky like moves like this. Rook takes bishop here, bishop d5. And queen takes f7 check is threatened here, as well as bishop takes rook. Well, what is going on here? Can you get out of that? Rook takes f2 would be the move. Damn. Yeah, there's. I only just started to go out exploring. Went to see this place called St. Stephen's Basilica last night, and it was beautiful place. I haven't seen the daylight yet. I'll probably do that on the rest day, maybe after playing some football in the morning or something. But rook takes f2 here is a really annoying move. Maybe bishop takes, and then you have to go king h8 here. You can't take because of rook c1, c8 check. You block with a rook, and rook takes his checkmate. Oh wow! So actually here he's gone rook d1. Is he trying to set this up? Rook takes a2 and bishop d5. Does this actually work? I mean, so rook takes, bishop d5. If rook takes f2, you can do bishop takes f7, but you can't take it. You've got to go king h8. And actually, you can then take the rook, because after takes, you can take the bishop because it's check. Black will probably win that, even though it might go into a theoretical draw at some point, but he's going to win that. So therefore this doesn't work because of rook takes f2, but he's played rook d1 and he's gone queen e5. Does it work now? Rook takes a2, bishop d5. Rook takes a2, so bishop d5. Okay, queen takes f7 is the threat, as well as bishop takes rook. Does that win? Does this win? How does he get out of this? Or am I just being stupid? Maybe this is why I'm rested, because there's probably a simple move here that black can play that just gets out of it. Rook a1. Yeah, Rook A1. Ah, this is the problem as well. The rook's on D1 now, not C1. So we haven't got queen takes F7 as a threat. What am I talking about? Just move the rook. Because queen takes F7 isn't a threat now, because after rook takes, you haven't got rook D8, mate. The bishop's in the way. So actually, he needed to keep his rook on C1. Ah, but he can't because the queen on D4 is just too good, so this doesn't work anymore. That would have been beautiful, though. That would have been absolutely beautiful if that had come off. You know, forcing him to go rook takes F2 here. I don't know. I find, you know, bishop takes F7 and then king H8. Okay, yeah, it's still lost, isn't it? It's going to be lost because of the checks, but yeah, it's just a nice tactics sometimes that just come in these moments. You think here it's just like all endgame kind of knowledge, but that mating tactic, mating threat is really important. Yeah, sometimes you can get some chances there. How's Daniel getting on? Okay, he's got a crazy position. So Daniel's quite resourceful, and I think he might make something of that. Jose was looking like he was in a bit of trouble. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Jose's position, but oh, okay. So Jose just attacked the bishop, and Bogner is in this place at the moment where he doesn't need to move his bishop. He's going to go queen F2 and threaten to take on F7 and give some checkmate kind of stuff. So that just tells you who's in the ascendancy here. You expect Alex to be 2200 plus soon enough? Oh, I mean, we have a bit of banter between each of us. So, well, as you already know, I mean, he's not going to be higher rated than me, surely. That feels a bit wrong. Unless my rating's going up. You think my rating's going to go up 100 points or something? Then, no, he'll watch this on record and he'll have me about it. So, when's he going to watch this? So maybe tonight. Probably when he rests next. So I don't know. I think obviously I can't give away team information, but there's you can probably guess who's resting tomorrow. But maybe 2 days time, 3 days time. Well, we'll be at Tuesday, which is the rest day. So he might do it on the rest day, but he might also try and watch it. Tonight when he gets in, depending how long his game is. So he'll eventually hear this roast. And then I'll be for it. So he'll come after me to try and get me back. But okay, thanks very much for following our progress through the tournament. It's very early days at the moment. We are going to be yo-yoing. I think we're going to go down today. Unfortunately, quite convincingly. But again, we'll get a weaker team tomorrow, and then it will start to level out, and that's when we're really going to start to see either have some good results or maybe some slip ups, because it really is an absolute lottery of who you get out there. Don't believe some of the ratings that you see online. A lot of these countries, depending on where you are in the world, they can either be massively underrated or massively overrated. We just don't know. I think Wales, we kind of sit somewhere in the middle, I think, which is quite good. But okay, I'm glad that you're enjoying watching some of the games, and I hope you like my tactic from yesterday and my finish, which was quite nice. But obviously the other guys also did a good job. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll do another one tomorrow, probably after the game, or the morning after that, depending on how long the game is. Bye bye, everybody.